up, YouTube? Figured this morning, even though it's like Friday afternoon, but this is going to go up Saturday morning. Delicious. I figured we'd do a discussion. How you guys feel about discussion? Everybody like discussions? I like discussions. A lot of people like discussions. So, today I figured the discussion we would have is yo-yo drama. I know it's a weird thing to say, but we play with toys, and kids play with toys, and I don't know, drama seems to happen sometimes, often for no reason whatsoever. But this week seemed to be a little heavy, I think, in yo-yo drama. And maybe I just paid more attention this week, I don't know. But I figured I'd address a couple of things, and I just kind of wanted to, talk about it, because I gotta put up content somehow, right? Every day. So, let's talk about yo-yo drama. So first thing I want to talk about is there was a big thread on the Reddit. I know, Reddit, but anyway. About, the string makers, I guess, and not just the string makers, but there's been a lot of people just kind of randomly getting downvotes on the throwers subreddit. Lately, there's been a lot of, just random downvoting, and I don't know if, the intent is to move content along quickly, or if there's honestly that much content coming up that people don't like. I mean, it's all yo-yo related in some way, shape, or form, but, I guess there's just been a lot of downvotes, and I've called out downvoters before, and usually it just ends up with some kind of a message like, oh, people don't like it when you call them out for downvoting, and I'm like, whatever, F them, they come talk to me, come be a man. But then I realized that, we're playing with toys, and they're probably children or something, so, it's hard to, get tough as an adult with, kids, so I guess my thought on that is that, consider what you're doing before you downvote. Everybody's just trying to share fun, good, exciting content. Or maybe not even exciting, but everybody's just trying to share their content, and it's usually something that they've created, and something that they're happy with, they're proud of, or whatever. I don't care if you downvote me, I really don't. It doesn't discourage me, it doesn't bother me, I really don't care. I really don't. In fact, if you downvote me, I'm just going to post more. So, it's really, downvotes, but I know it bothers some people, especially the people who, put a lot of time and effort into creating things, and, they only do something once every so often, and, that one thing they worked on really hard for a long time. Those downvotes, especially with no comments or no creative criticism, this is I realize that we're playing with toys, but these are yo-yos and stuff are tough to it's tough to learn, tough to master. And, a lot of people put a lot of work into their content. So, and clearly it upsets people. It doesn't upset me, I don't care. I'm just going to post more if you do. In fact, if you want me to post more, go ahead and downvote whatever I post on Reddit, and I'll just make sure I post more content, because clearly you just want it to move along more. But other people don't feel that way. Yeah, you're not going to hurt my feelings, but you're going to, it's other people. I'm concerned with other people's feelings. And maybe, but I like everybody in the yo-yo community. You're not going to hurt me, but you're going to hurt other people. And that's just not cool. Don't do that. Why would you do that? We're not a big enough community to, infight. You know what I mean? There just aren't enough people in the yo-yo community to have, this faction and that this, we would be divided into a bunch of nothing. It would be there's 10 people over here, and there's 12 people over here, and there's 6 people back there. It's just, we're not a big enough community for that. So, try to be supportive of your fellow throwers when you can. Now, if somebody posts some garbage or something, yeah, downvote it, but, comment. Say, hey, I don't like this for this reason. I'm sure that's going to happen, and there's certainly worthwhile uses and worthwhile things to downvote and worthwhile things to dislike. But, for somebody who's, posting some tricks, and maybe they post tricks often, upvote those people. Those people are working hard. They're working hard to produce content. They're doing everything they can to help further the sport. And by downvoting them, you're whether or not you're attempting to discourage them, you have the potential to discourage them, and that's not what we need to encourage each other, not discourage each other. So that's my thoughts on downvotes. So please don't you know, just think about it a little bit. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'm sure you guys are awesome. I firmly believe that the people who are my subscribers are the absolute cream of the crop of the Yo-Yo community. You guys are fantastic. So I know I'm preaching to the choir, but, you know, if you see it happening, preach it out a little bit. I'm doing my best. Let's grow the community together. We can only grow it with love. We're not going to grow it with, you know, pissing matches or anything. So that's that. Second piece of yo-yo drama that happened, and this kind of happens often, so I'm not going to specifically target anybody. This is just like a thing that comes up every great now and then. It seems like some yo-yo companies tend to follow a bunch of people on Instagram, and then they unfollow them on Instagram after they've built up their Instagram audience. And, you know, that's clearly not the best way to do it. Like, it ticks some people off, I guess, because it makes people upset, and then they comment about it. And I'm not like, it doesn't bother me. I'm not active enough on Instagram, I guess, to give a crap one way or the other. But I know a lot of people are, and like that's kind of very much, you know, I'm an outlier being on YouTube. I am not, you know, being primarily on YouTube. I'm an outlier. There are a lot of people who are primarily Instagrammers, and I know that follow-unfollow stuff really bugs them because they've spent a lot of time and effort building up their audience just through hard work, and that follow-unfollow stuff, you know, to get yourself 2,000 followers, but then, you know, almost no engagement out of that, it ticks them off because, you know, yes, it's random internet points, but at the same time, you know, they feel like it's an unnatural thing. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's not a thing that bothers me particularly. And I'm not going to take a company and just be like, oh, well, now I can't buy that company's yo-yo ever because they've done it. That's not, to me, that's not important. And, you know, whatever social media practices end up being through a company, you know, I feel like one misstep, if you've just done that, like, well, let's get it started and, you know, let's build it up. And, you know, maybe it's a misstep with the small size of the community. I feel like it is probably a misstep, not something I would do. Clearly, I haven't done it. I've had an Instagram account for years. You know, I don't think I've unfollowed anybody ever, or unfriended anybody on Facebook. I may have unfriended a few people, but just annoying people. But like, it's for me, it's, you know, I rarely post or whatever, so it doesn't bug me too much, and I'm not going to not buy or not review a yo-yo from a company who's maybe had a misstep on Instagram. God knows I've had too many beers and had plenty of missteps personally on Facebook or whatever. But it is what it is. So it's not something that I think everybody needs to get all worked up about, especially if it's only one instance. However, I do think that it's probably important for those companies. I feel like there's like two thresholds of it. Like, if you do it once, I'll take this example because sorry, I like all these people. I really do. So, Caribou Lodge did it sort of unknowingly. They were like, oh, hey, do you want to, you know, I think they clicked on a program that was like, hey, free trial, you know, get more exposure. They figured it was like some kind of a, like, they'd get more sponsored posts out or something. And, you know, you say, oh, what the hell, let's give it a shot. But it was one of those follow-unfollow bots. And so they caught a lot of flack for it. And immediately they turned around like, oh crap, sorry, we didn't know that's what that was. We stopped it, and they stopped it. And they haven't done it since. And I have a lot of respect for Steve and for Chris. I like them a lot. I've met Steve personally once like a long time ago, and then once again very recently. And both times he was awesome to me. And he was a great guy, very nice. It was just a lot of fun, Never met Chris personally. I've talked with him. I've had a couple interactions with him on social media. Seems like an okay guy. You know, and neither of them are in that. Like, they're in this because they love this. Like, neither of them are in this to like be rich. You know, they're in this because they love this. I don't think Chris does the thing full time, and I think that's really what it comes down to. Is that, like, yeah, if you have a social media misstep, that's not a huge deal, and that happens. Don't jump down people's throats about it, because it's one of those things that, like, you're going to have a social media misstep at some point. You know, maybe right now you're 15, and you've only ever made good decisions in your mind, but it's going to happen, and you're going to tick people off at some point in your life, and you're going to want those people to be forgiving of you, especially if you're like, whoa, what, didn't know, sorry, my bad. So it's not, to me, don't do it. Like, I feel like that's like the wrong way to do it, and especially with, like I said before, how small the yo-yo community is, people are going to figure that out. Like, it's not, people are going to figure that out. And you're not going to get away with it. It's not sneaky. It's not a good business practice because you're going to, like, really sour people on your brand. People who are not as nice as me. You're going to sour people on your brand before they've even had the opportunity to buy your yo-yo. And you really don't want to do that because, yeah, you might get one good release out because of it, but, that you may be numbering your own days by doing it. So, in accordance to that, though, I feel like kind of the best way to do it, if you're going to follow a bunch of people on Instagram, be active. Like, talk to people, respond to messages, return emails, actually like the things that you followed on Instagram that you find to be useful. A lot of guys put a ton of work into Instagram stuff. Like, every week, somebody puts out a minute or however long the videos are allowed to be, video of them, highly edited, minute or so long video that they've put a lot of work and time into. And so, interact with the community. You want to spend money on your yo-yos, actually interact. I think a lot of the reason that somebody like G2 Jake has a lot of good, get his yo-yo sell out like that every time he drops them, is because he interacts with the community. He goes out to meet the people. You can meet him, buy a yo-yo directly from him at a contest. Like, I feel like that the community is small enough that you need to be that. You need to be accessible, especially if you're a brand new company. You need to be accessible and active within the community. So to follow and then unfollow a bunch of people is not active in the community. It's very like, it's sort of like, a lot of people would look at it as you feel that you're better than everybody and they don't know who you are. So they would rather tear you down than let you even try to build yourself up. So, if you're going to start a yo-yo company, be active in the community, or if you're going to start yo-yo anything, be very active in the community and be readily available to the community. I feel like the people that do that the best are the people that have the most success, and those are the people you need to emulate, not, companies that come and go that do this, like, follow, unfollow stuff. But I'm not going to write some company off just because they've done it once, but I would hope that they've learned from their mistake after the first mistake. Because you're allowed to make mistakes, but, own up to them and make it right. So we'll see what happens from there, but I doubt this will be the last time we see that happen. Hopefully everybody does it right next time. So we'll see. The last thing I saw today was kind of weird. I saw somebody post on the Facebook BST about how an old yo-yo looked like a new yo-yo, that the new yo-yo had sort of been, like, marketed as something completely different. The new yo-yo is something completely different, and I don't want to name names. If you saw the post, well, you know what? We're going to I will name names. So somebody had posted on the Facebook BST that an old Spy yo-yo looked a lot like the Big Bang Bandalore's Endeavor. Now, if you scroll down the post, once you saw the inner cups of the yo-yos were completely different, and, if you looked at them close, like, if you looked at them kind of from far, like this type of shot, like, it was like, okay, I mean, I guess the profiles are kind of similar on the, along the outside, but they, like, at this point, how many yo-yos have come out that, like, a profile can be similar? Now, the cups were totally different. Like, couldn't have been more different. So they were clearly, like, hugely different yo-yos. And so there was, like, a drama thread. Hopefully it's been deleted, because it was BS. About how that was the same. Now, the owner, to his credit, of Big Bang Bandalore's, showed up and was like, yeah, I didn't, like, one, I've never had that yo-yo, and two, I've never played it, and two, that's not where the inspiration came from. Here's the, and he listed off a bunch of yo-yos that were sort of inspirational for things that ended up in the Endeavor, which is perfectly fine. And my thought on the whole thing, I almost commented on the thread, but I was like, this probably should be deleted, and maybe I should just include it in what I was going to talk about today. My whole thought on the thing was like, I mean, there's been so many yo-yos created at this point in time, over the last however long, that especially, like, the profile of a yo-yo, like, yeah, there's definitely going to be yo-yos with similar profiles. Like, I doubt you could make a yo-yo with a different enough profile that you couldn't compare it pretty closely to another yo-yo. At least you couldn't make a yo-yo that played well, that didn't sort of compare as far as the, like, profile was concerned to a yo-yo that's already been made. Like, you could make something brand new and totally crazy, but it would probably play like garbage. Or at least it wouldn't play that well. And, you know, I think the primary design goal for creating a yo-yo is it needs to be fun to play with. And it needs to play well enough to be fun to play with. So, you know, you're going to get a lot of similarities in that regard. You can only do so many things. And that's not to say that there aren't new heights to be reached and new peaks to be had and new things to be tried or new yo-yos to buy or new yo-yos to make. That's not what I'm saying at all. All I'm saying is that similarities are going to happen because it's still the same toy. And to say, oh, this is the same as this, it's like, well, technically they're all yo-yos, so they're all the same. And if there's a profile that's the same, I guarantee it's coincidental just because generally that profile shape kind of worked at one point, or is working. So the fact that somebody came up with a profile that was similar, I mean, come on. All yo-yo profiles are similar if you really think about it. It's, you know, two sides that are the same. You kind of come up with a shape that sort of cuts in, and so that the string falls in the middle, and, you know, depending on how you make the cuts, but the shape cuts in, and it's the same on both sides, and that's all there is to it. It's a, you know, you make a shape, and it's the same shape, and it cuts in so that the string falls in the middle. There's been thousands and thousands of these things designed. You're going to come out with, you know, some people are going to come up with the same in-cut shapes. It's like writing a song. Like, are you going to, like, take a chord progression and they're like, hey, that chord progression is exactly the same as this song. It's like, well, yeah, except they played it on a piano here, and here it's played on a guitar, and it's an electric guitar, and it's, like, riff chugged, and there's, like, this solo here, and it's like, you know, you can't just take a chord progression and say this is the same as this, because it still uses A, G, and the A, G, and C chord progression, or the A, G, and E chord progression. Like, yeah, that and 50 million other songs. So, I don't think when somebody is marketing a brand new yo-yo that is unique because it's something that they've never seen before, the fact that it shares a similar profile or something to a yo-yo from a decade ago, I don't think that especially if the inner cup is way different. Because, like, I feel like that's where similarities come in. Like, if the cup is the same, the yo-yo is going to kind of play more the same, especially if the profile. But if the profile is similar, but the cup design is way different, those yo-yos are going to play so unlike each other, it's, like, it's silly to bring up. It's way different. It's a bad idea. And you should really think more about it before you do stuff like that, because it's, you know, excuse my language, I know there's kids watching, but it's a shitpost. It's terrible. So don't do that kind of crap, especially because nobody, and I've said this before, nobody's getting rich making yo-yos. I assure you of that. I've met and talked to a ton of guys who are professional yo-yo players or who make yo-yos. Nobody's getting rich. None of them. They do this because they love it, and they do it because they want to put out a fun toy for themselves to play with and for you guys to play with. So to do stuff like that to people who are trying to push out fun stuff, especially people who are pushing out fun stuff that are getting, like, some really good feedback on it that people are enjoying. Whether everybody enjoys it or just part of the community enjoys it, if people are enjoying it, you know, I really feel like you should just give those people the benefit of the doubt, because they're not really in it to make money, because there's not that much money to be made. Does that make sense? Like, there just really isn't. There's maybe 5 to 10 people in the world, maybe more than that, but, you know, there's not that many people in the world who are making, like, serious, like, live on my own money, or, like, you know, support my family money on selling yo-yos. Especially not boutique companies. It's not happening. They're not in it to get rich. They're in it because they love it. So you should respect them and support them for that. Now, absolutely give them feedback about things, but message them personally. Don't drag it out into the open. And this is sort of my conclusion of yo-yo drama. Don't drag it out in the open if you have a problem or a question or an issue with something. The community is small enough and the companies are small enough that you can bring it right to the source. Usually it's just a misunderstanding, can easily be resolved, and you go from there, you know? So that's sort of my rant today, guys. Yo-yo drama is silly. We're a great community. Everybody I've met has been fantastic. You guys are all wonderful. Like I said, I know I'm preaching to the choir because my subscribers are the best. You guys are awesome. But you gotta roll with it. We gotta grow this community. Creating drama is not the way to do that, and in fact, it's a good way to push people out. So, cut down on the drama, chalk up on the love, and make sure you like and subscribe. Smash that like button if you made it for 21 minutes of me ranting while I had a beer. Mash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Maybe I should share this on Reddit. That'd be fun, right? I'm kidding. Come on. Anyway, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers to you. I will see you next time.